Hello and welcome back to another reaction. In this occasion, My Hero Academia, the OVA, Do or Die Survival Training. Yes, these are a couple of OVAs that came out not long ago, if I'm not mistaken, like a month ago. And obviously, I wasn't aware of those until I started to see where is this coming from in my Twitter. In my Twitter, I start to see, wait, where does it must come from? I haven't seen this one, and then I discovered that yes, there was a new OVA. I don't know if this OVA is going to be canon or is going to be just like the last one when All Might was pretending to be a villain. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm intrigued because yes, I enjoy My Hero Academia, as you might know, and yeah, I want to see what is going to be the deal with these OVAs. And we have different degrees of quality in the OVAs. I've never been so harsh on them because, come on, they are kind of extras. They are not. They do not belong to the main series, at least. At least it's harder to place them in the main series. Yes, even if you are considered canon, again, just like the movies, is kind of okay because they mention or the events that happen during these OVAs are mentioned in the main show. It doesn't necessarily make them canon. Only if they have really repercussions in the main show, and I mean real palpable repercussions in the main show, that's when I will consider them canon. So that's why I'm very soft on them, because yeah, some of them are just silly adventures, like when All Might pretend, well no, when they thought that All Might and Midnight were kind of lovers and Midnight One tried to stop All Might from being evil. Yeah, it was a very convoluted, but it was a lot of fun, especially with the ending. It was a lot of fun, and that's probably one of the most remarkable OVAs that I have in my mind about at least My Hero Academia. But this one has a more ominous title. It's weird for me to understand, and there are two of them, and they are in kind of in a mini series. So I'm intrigued to see how is this going to be developed, how is this going to turn out. But I'm not going to figure it out just by thinking about them. So, and before we go to that, let me just remind you that if you enjoy the content of the channel, please consider a subscriptions and to notifications. If you enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment so I know what you think about my reaction, the episode, or my commentary by the end. What else? Oh yes, the link for my Twitter is in the description below, alongside with the link to the Patreon. I haven't put anything new on the Patreon. I should really put something new there. So yes. Anyway, I'm going to do that in this weekend. Anyway, yes, enough about my blabbling. Let's just cut all this presentation and watch the video, shall we? Okay, I'm back. I just watched a second time the OVA, the first OVA that, well, the new OVA, the first of the two OVAs. As I said at the end of my reaction, this feels like an episode. It feels like something that you will see on the actual show. Obviously, when there is an OVA, I think so far it's not related to what the mangaka originally imagines, but at least it's for something for exclusively TV. So again, I'm not considering any of these canon because obviously we will have contradictions with canon. Again, this is supposed to take place just before the provisional license hero exam. And since they are developing so many other skills within this exercise, skills that we don't see on the real field, it's obvious that it's not canon. It's just an alternative story so they can put another product. That is the point of this OVA. Especially with Uraraka, and I mean especially with Uraraka because Uraraka should have learned the lesson, and we know that she didn't. She must have learned, oh, I need to take these debris little by little and not just in the bulk, like what she was trying to do during the exam. So obviously this is not considered canon. At least I don't think it's never ever considered canon. Obviously, if you have some other information, please let me know, because so far of what I have seen is non-canon. that out of the way, I can honestly say that this is a pretty good OVA. It's taking itself serious enough for me to be invested, but not overly serious for me to say, okay, this is way too much. This is just so edgy and they are trying way too hard. So yeah, it's a nice balance between the good comedy, especially at the beginning, because yeah, all the reactions, all the curious faces, all the funny stuff, all the funny stuff that happens at the beginning, which is obviously most lighthearted because they say, okay, this is training, we need to take it seriously, but we can goof about in some other regard. But when obviously the bad thing starts to happen with the crumbling of the ground and the collapsing of the floor and other parts of the mall, yeah, they start to take it more seriously. So I like that neat balance that we have in this first OVA. And obviously the teams that divide, it's again, I am a shipper, as you might know it. Well, I'm gonna leave that by the end. The first team is obviously, well, Bakugo wasn't exactly a team. It wasn't exactly, okay, you need to go with this guy and this guy. No, he just took off and he didn't care about anybody else because he wanted to rescue the dummy, well, victim in this case, and he wanted to be the first one to prove that he is better than everybody else. The rest obviously have to improvise, well, not improvise, they have to accommodate whatever Bakugo did after that, because Bakugo wasn't alone in that case. It was alongside Kirishima and Kaminari that, yeah, they tried to reason with Bakugo, and I think within this group, within this whole team of 10, they are the closest of friends that Bakugo has, so yeah, it makes sense. But the other teams obviously are interesting. Ida and Yajorosu and Todoroki and Tokoyami. The other one, obviously, the other team of 3, which is obviously Tsuyu, Suraraka, and it's Deku. When I mentioned that I am a shipper, because the team of Uraraka and Deku, and well, Tsuyu, the kind of the third wheel, let's say, it's fine by me. It's better than fine. Actually, it will be better without Tsuyu. It's not because I don't like Tsuyu. I really do like Tsuyu. I think he's a great character. But come on, this was an opportunity to have them, just the two of them together, man. Yeah, I know, this is why most of the people hate shippers, because yeah, crap like this, but come on, you could give us that. In the few minutes that we have them together alone, after obviously the floor collapsing, again, a very cute moment between each other. So yeah, apparently the creators of the OVA feel very similarly to what I feel, so I'm glad I watched that. The rest, obviously, they don't have a ship that I follow, so for me it's kind of indifferent, the rest of the team. Well, not indifferent, I like the characters, but indifferent in the shipping realm of existence, let's say. That's what I'm trying to say. And yes, everybody is pointing towards that, oh, this team is, well, not everybody, Midoriya is pointing towards that, oh, this team is effective because of this and because of this. We obviously know that there is part of kind of a recapitulation in case you haven't watched My Hero Academia, or you don't remember. This is saying, okay, these are the characters, these are their powers, and this is what you should expect from each and every person that we saw in this episode. It feels weird because, yeah, we know My Hero Academia, and after 4th season it's hard for somebody to just get into this series just by an OVA, so it feels kind of weird, but sure, it's fine how they portray that with Midoriya, because yes, we know that Midoriya is, and his tendency is to mumble, so yeah, it makes sense. But obviously now the disaster strikes, everything is crumbling, everything is going wrong, and even Ida gets hurt, and they need to rescue Ida in this case, because yes, they consider, okay, the other is a dummy, and I don't want to risk my my friend, in this case Ida, so we need to rescue Ida. That is going to be our top priority. In the case of Bakugo, it's not that he is cold-hearted, because I think he doesn't know that Ida is being hurt, and he wants to to everybody else that yes, perhaps this was an accident, but I'm going to rescue this dummy, this victim, let's say, this pretend victim, and after I'm going to escape with no problems, and I'm going to show off that I am the best of the best. So yeah, that's why. And obviously all the plans, and we have seen just how smart Baku really is, and this is another episode, well, another moment in which we can see that smartness. Again, it's hard for me to explain what I see in this OVA because mostly it's again the characters that are way very interesting. That sounds weird, but they are very interesting. But we know the characters, we know why they are interesting. So I'm trying to concentrate more than anything else in the OVA. After obviously they start to push themselves forward because yes, even for Uraraka is hard, and kind of thanks to what happened with Dark Shadow, because yeah, he lost control, they could find an easier way to reach the elevator so they can move either up and he can be safe. Unfortunately, this exercise is not over. We start to see water. At the beginning I thought it was kind of a villain or something like that, but no, this is more akin to a natural disaster or a continuous disaster, perhaps not natural, perhaps man-made, I don't know, but a failure nonetheless. So perhaps this is what the exercise is about. They need to be on their toes, they need to be prepared for anything, and this is part of the training, because again, I don't think this is just an accident, a series of accidents, because if there were accidents, I think the teachers will be more worried, or will start to see, oh, I need to rescue them, or something along those lines. So my guess, this is still part of the exercise. They need to tell them, this is just a rescue exercise, and perhaps it is, but you don't know who you need to rescue. You need to rescue yourselves so they can get out of there. So that's part of the exercise. That is my guess. That is what I think is going on with this OVA. But obviously, since they did it in a two-part, they need to be something else for us to be looking forward to the second part. And now that water that is starting to fill, I don't know in which level, the entire mall. It's again odd for me to see an underground mall, but perhaps it's not as odd in Japan. I don't know. If you know the answer to that, please let me know. So we know there is another disaster about to happen. And that is the conclusion of the OVA. Now, this raises an interesting question. And this is more of how we see the show and not how the inner mechanisms of the show really are. It's not within the universe. We saw the teams. Obviously, from what I can see, because yes, I have them right here in my notes, Team A is composed by Tsuyu, Ida, Ochako, Kaminari, Kirishima, Tokoyami, Todoroki, Bakugo, Midoriya, and Yaojoroso. That's Team A. And Team B is Aoyama, Mina, Ojiro, Koda, Sato, Shoji, Jiro, Zero, Hakakure, and Mineta. If you kind of see the division of these two teams, it's kind of odd if we see them as within universe. Why is that? Because on Team B we have more stealth students. We have Jiro, we have Hagakure, we have Shoji. They are more of a stealth group because they have other abilities, let's say. We have a certain degree of strength, but not that much. And on the other team, we have a lot of heavy hitters, not much stealth and reconnaissance. The most diverse obviously is Yaojoroso because she can create almost anything that you might need for a mission. But most of them are more on the fighting side. And especially very heavy hitters. We have probably the 3 strongest, perhaps even 5 strongest characters, students of Class 1A in Team A. And I'm referring obviously to Midoriya, to Bakugo, to Todoroki, to Tokoyami, to Kirishima. And hell, even if you include either. We have 6 of the strongest characters of the Class 1A, and we have Kaminari. And I have said before, Kaminari has the potential of being overwhelmingly strong, ridiculously strong, thanks to his quirk. So we have a lot of unbalance here. And if we see on Team B, we have not as powerful, kind of we have the, well, yeah, literally the B team of Class 1A. The ones that are kind of more unnoticed. And yes, you know that sometimes I'm very harsh on Ojiro especially, because I think he is very neutral, he's very bland, let's say. But still, that doesn't take away the fact that this is more kind of the popular characters against the least popular characters. That's what I'm feeling the show was about. And yes, it makes sense into the point of view of marketing the show. That yes, they are taking the most popular characters and they are putting them together. It's obviously not well balanced. It's not how the school within universe will work, let's say. It's how the marketing group will say, okay, we need the most popular ones. And they need to be the team A because they're going to be first, because all the surprises are going to be with them, and the rest, yeah, sure. I don't know what they are going to do with them in the second half. Perhaps they're going to intervene, or perhaps we're just going to watch the team A and team B. I just say, okay, they did the same, but you need to keep quiet because yeah, it needs to be a surprise for team B too. So that's my guess. That's how these groups came to be, because that's what makes sense for me that this happened. Again, this unbalanced team, because again, we have the heaviest hitters in Team A, a lot of heavy hitters. Perhaps the strongest characters are in Team A. All the strongest characters, or at least the popular characters. So yes, that's why I think it's this division. Again, it's an interesting OVA, not much to say about because again, these are characters that we know and this is not a very huge plot that we need to follow. Because again, this takes place kind of in Season 3, before the provisional exams, but after the defeat of All for One, for the remarks that Bakugo did. So yes, it was an interesting OVA. I cannot wait to see the next one, but unfortunately, that's all the things I have to say about this one. I hope you enjoy it, and let me just remind you once more that if you enjoy the content of the channel, please consider a subscription and turn on notifications. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends or in Twitter or whatever social media you are using. If you have something to say, if you want to correct me into something, or you have to agree with something, or tell me what you think about the episode, well, the OVA or my analysis, please leave a comment. And obviously, if you want to follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description below, alongside with the link to my Patreon. So yes, I think that's it. I really exhausted the topic of this one. I hope you enjoy it, and well, see you on the next one. Bye.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, give it a like, so the algorithm from YouTube will help me out. And check my other videos, share them, and also why not subscribe to my channel and join this community. And as always, I want to thank you for your attention, your likes, and even your dislikes, your comments, which is something I always look forward to read. And yeah, once more, thanks and see you on the next one.